Hi, hello. Today we're going to be talking about the 7-star Hisuian Typhlosion, which is the Fire Tera type. I'm going to be going over 4 different raid builds that you can use that all work together and have synergy. If you're new to my channel, I build Pokemon that work together that you can use in group situations, on your Discord, on streams, with your friends, with your grandma. These Pokemon all work together, but I'm really confident in these 4 builds. We already kind of know what Typhlosion does because we fought Typhlosion before. We fought the regular Typhlosion with the Ghost Tera type, and now we're fighting Hisuian Typhlosion with the Fire Tera type. So just rewinding and looking back at the original Typhlosion, the original Typhlosion ended up being a mixed attacker, and it's very likely that this is also going to be a mixed attacker. Back in April, that Typhlosion was the mild nature, and it had Eruption, Shadow Ball, Earthquake, Sunny Day, and Play Rough. Surprisingly, when that Typhlosion debuted, there was no Solar Beam, which everyone kind of expected, including myself. So there could be a Solar Beam this time around. But going forward on the differences between Typhlosion and Hisuian Typhlosion, the main difference here is that Hisuian Typhlosion gets a little bit slower and its HP goes down just a little bit, but the exchange leads to a slightly higher special attack. Now, the most difficult part, I think, about the first Typhlosion was just being overwhelmed by Eruption in the sun. If you had a way to get rid of the sun, and if you had a way to not take super effective or neutral fire damage, that probably wasn't that big of an issue. But Eruption could overwhelm you. This Eruption will be even stronger if that's a possibility. So the first Typhlosion was Ghost-type Tera. This is going to be Fire-type Tera, so that makes Eruption even stronger, plus the slight boost to a special attack. Meaning we don't want to take fire damage at all, because it's going to hit really hard if it has Eruption again. Speaking of the special-type moves it has, we're looking at Eruption, Infernal Parade, which is its signature move, Solar Beam, Focus Blast, and Extrasensory, which is a Psychic-type move. Infernal Parade has a 30% chance to burn you, and if you have any status condition, Infernal Parade will double. So it's a base 60 damage attack. It will double to 120. If we can survive a Eruption, we can survive Flamethrower, we can survive Heat Wave, we can survive Overheat. So now on the physical side, and this is why I believed that Typhlosion would be a mixed attacker originally, and why I put Chilling Water on a lot of my original Pokemon, is because it does get a lot more access to physical moves than it does special moves. So we have Flare Blitz, Earthquake, which the original one had, Wild Charge, Play Rough, which the original one had, Shadow Claw, Zen Headbutt, Brick Break, and Iron Head. Probably the big 3 that stand out here are Earthquake, Wild Charge, and Play Rough. Play Rough will cover Dragon types, Wild Charge will cover Water types, and Earthquake would cover Fire type Pokemon that possibly would have Flash Fire. And then on the status type moves at the very bottom here, it doesn't really get a lot, but the ones we would maybe worry about are Sunny Day, Will-O-Wisp, Smokescreen, and Calm Mind. I'm fairly confident we will definitely see Sunny Day out of all of these. Okay, let's talk about the first Pokemon, which is Milotic. Milotic was brought back with the Teal Mask DLC. So if you didn't purchase the Teal Mask, you could just have somebody trade you a Milotic, or you can grab a Milotic from Pokemon Home or from Pokemon Go. But if you have the DLC, you can get Milotic that way, or make some eggs for people and give them Milotic. Milotic is just really good overall in most raid situations. It has a whopping 125 special defense, although we won't be using this one for an attacking Pokemon. We're actually going to use our Milotic as support. Most Milotics are support anyways. You can just keep the Water-type Tera. We're going to go Calm Nature. Possible moveset of Chilling Water, Light Screen, Safeguard, and Life Dew. Now, Infernal Parade can be probably the most frustrating thing to deal with. Because Infernal Parade has the ability to burn you, that would cut your physical attack stat in half. If it burns a special attacker, it's really not that big of a deal. But if you are burned, you are going to take twice as much damage from Infernal Parade. So the main move we're going to be looking at here on Milotic is Safeguard. Safeguard will protect your entire team for 5 turns from any status conditions. So you'll be able to set that up right away. Milotic will also have access to Life Dew. So you'll be able to heal your team. You can save your heal cheers then for like attack cheers or defense cheers. Light Screen, both Infernal Parade and any fire type move is probably going to be a special attack. So Light Screen will protect your team there. And then Chilling Water will control those physical attacks coming through. So if you have somebody bringing a Dragon-type Pokemon like Hydreigon or Goodra, and it has Play Rough, you'll be able to reduce those Play Roughs. Also, in case we see Wild Charge, which is an Electric-type move, Chilling Water will work with that. As a support Pokemon, you're really going to play this with opening with a Safeguard or Light Screen, depending on how Typhlosion opens up. Once your status moves are set up, you're going to be able to control the damage with Chilling Water and then Life Dew and heal your team. So ideally, if you're playing your role correctly, you're going to keep your team alive so they can focus on damage so the raid can go down quicker. If you like Milotic, there you go. I know a lot of people like Milotic. I know a lot of people like playing support. EVs should be on the screen, 252 HP, 100 defense, 20 special attack, and 136 special defense. We're going to do Light Clay. That's going to make Light Screen last 8 turns instead of 5 turns. Unfortunately, there's nothing to extend Safeguard. Now, while Milotic can learn Rain Dance and possibly set up Rain Dance, we're going to be bringing Kyogre, if you have one, with the ability Drizzle. Now, if you don't have Kyogre, there's many ways to get it. Maybe you bought BDSP, you can get a Kyogre there. If you have Sword and Shield, you can get Kyogre in Dynamax Adventure. If you played Pokemon Go, you can get Kyogre there. If you have Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Kyogre is in the Ultra Wormhole. Plenty of ways to get Kyogre if you don't have one. Before I talk about Kyogre alternatives, Kyogre does have the ability Drizzle, which will automatically set Rain. Although if we go back to the very first Typhlosion raid, Typhlosion would always set Sun on turn 2. If you were playing with randoms or maybe people who didn't understand the raid, they might have started off using Rain Dance, but that was kind of useless because Typhlosion would always set Sun turn 2. That's why I don't think Drizzle is that important, because I find it very likely that Typhlosion will set Sun relatively quickly, and then the Drizzle's kind of useless there. Our moveset here for Kyogre, we have Surf, Chilling Water, Calm Mind, and Rain Dance. So we can reset the Rain Dance because I do suspect that Typhlosion will Sunny Day twice during this raid battle. So we want to shut down that Sunny Day when possible. There are some people that prefer Water Spout over Surf, especially with the Shell Bell item to get your health back. I think that's a little bit riskier. I think that's totally cool though. That's just your play preference. If you are playing if you're playing alongside a Milotic, I actually think Water Spout would probably be preferred because you'll have somebody constantly healing you on top of your Shell Bell healing you. But if you are playing with randoms, or maybe you only have one friend you're playing with and the other 2 people are randoms, Surf is more of a consistent option. If you don't have full health, Water Spout's not going to do nearly as enough damage compared to just something simple as Surf. Calm Mind will increase your special defense and it will increase your special attack. Although I probably wouldn't Calm Mind at all until after the boss resets your stats. So I would maybe, for Kyogre players, I would Chilling Water yourself to Tera as fast as possible, because you will be doing even more damage once you Terrastalize. So I know some people want to maybe start off with like a Calm Mind, but really getting to Tera as fast as possible, you're just going to be able to do way more damage, and then once shield phase is up and you're already Terrastalized, you're going to break through that shield a lot quicker. EVs are 252 HP, 4 defense, 208 special attack, and 44 in speed. The reason we actually have speed here is to benefit people who prefer to play Water Spout. Having 44 speed will make you 1 tick faster than Hisuian Typhlosion, assuming Hisuian Typhlosion has a neutral speed nature. So in a situation, if you have full health and they click Eruption and you click Water Spout, you will go first, making sure your Water Spout will do as much damage as possible, versus the alternative of you getting hit with an Eruption, which wouldn't do that much damage anyways, but then your Water Spout would be weaker. I think the 44 speed is definitely worth it here. That would have to be changed only if Hisuian Typhlosion has a positive speed nature, and then in that case, I would change from a modest nature to negative attack plus speed to just counter that really quickly with a mint. But that's not the end of the world. Like, you could probably just do 252 HP, 252 special attack, and be fine. But if you want to lean more into that Water Spout, having a slight speed advantage will probably make the difference in how much damage you're actually outputting as a Kyogre player. I hear you. You don't have Kyogre. What's a good alternative Kyogre? Well, there are 3 other Pokemon in this video that you could possibly build. But if you wanted something very similar to Kyogre, you could go Politoed. Although you can see right here on the screen, Politoed's base stat total is 500. Kyogre's is 670. So like that alone is significantly better. Politoed is real budget compared. Again, I talked about like Drizzle, and while they do have the same ability, I don't think Drizzle is going to be as important as just manually setting Rain Dance after Typhlosion sets Sun. So you might get like a free turn of Rain before Typhlosion shuts that down. But Politoed gets pretty much the same moves. You can Surf, you can Chilling Water, you can Rain Dance. It does not get Calm Mind. It does get Amnesia, although I don't think you'd need that. I would instead probably just either run Helping Hand or Mud Slap to reduce its accuracy. It's really budget, and I wouldn't super recommend it. There's a bunch of Water-type Pokemon that you can literally copy and paste Kyogre's gimmick to, which is Surf, Chilling Water, boosting Rain Dance. There's a lot of water Pokemon that fit that, but the big difference here is Kyogre's huge special defense stat of 140. It's really good HP stat of 100, and then obviously it's special attack. So that's why Kyogre kind of overshadows a lot of other water Pokemon in this situation. Its stats are really good specifically for this raid. Before we get to the next Pokemon, just real quick, if just make sure to check if you're subscribed. It's like 70% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, and it's really beneficial if you do. So feel free to like, subscribe, comment, maybe which one of these Pokemon you like the most. But anyways, back to the video. Our next Pokemon has an even bigger special defense stat than Kyogre, which is Goodra. We actually used a Goodra for our first Typhlosion raid. This one will be slightly different, but Goodra has a special defense stat of 150, and it does resist fire, it resists electric. The problem with Goodra is going to be if Typhlosion returns with another Play Rough. We prepped for that the first time with Chilling Water. We're going to prep for it again with Chilling Water. We would prefer a Water-type Tera on Goodra if possible. If you do not have enough Water Shards, you can just do Dragon-type Tera. The great thing about that is you keep all of those resistances. When you do change to Water-type Tera, you are weak to Solar Beam and to Wild Charge, although Chilling Water will prevent that damage. If you cannot do Water Tera, Dragon Tera is the second best option. Obviously, Goodra will already have Dragon-type Tera when you catch it in the wild. For Goodra, we are going to do Acid Spray, Chilling Water, Muddy Water, Rain Dance. You could also do Charm or Hydro Pump. You can actually do quite a few moves with Goodra. Do 1 or 2 Chilling Waters, but then really get the Acid Spray going for major damage. Item we're going to actually put on Goodra is Zoom Lens. I'm a huge fan of Zoom Lens. Goodra by default is already slower than Hisuian Typhlosion, and even if Hisuian Typhlosion has a negative speed nature, we are still slower. So how Zoom Lens works is it gives your move a 20% accuracy increase if you are slower. And because Goodra is slower, that means our Muddy Water goes from an 85% accurate move to 100% accurate. And the cool thing about Muddy Water is it does the same amount of damage as Surf, but it also has a 30% chance of lowering Typhlosion's accuracy. This is a new way to use Goodra in a way we haven't done before. Accuracy drops are huge against raid bosses. It benefits everyone. On top of that, we won't have to be worrying about healing as much because Milotic, while you could probably just throw a Shell Bell on here and change Muddy Water to Surf, I don't think you'll have to worry about the Shell Bell as much with somebody healing you like Milotic and Typhlosion missing moves over and over again because you're hitting those 100% accuracy Muddy Waters. You can opt for Charm instead of Chilling Water, but the reason I like Chilling Water is 1, it works through Raid Shield, and 2, it gets you fast. It gets you closer to Tera faster. We're gonna do 252 HP, 60 defense, 176 special attack, and 20 special defense. I want to talk about Goodra's ability real quick. It has 2 that are good here, Sap Sipper and Hydration. Sap Sipper isn't needed at all unless you change to a Water-type Tera. And even when you change to a Water-type Tera, it doesn't really matter that much. Solar Beam, before you Terastallize to Goodra, only does about 10 to 12% damage. It's a 10-hit KO. A lot of people, I just realized, didn't know this until I was running damage calculations on all these Pokemon, but Solar Beam actually gets weaker in the rain. So while Sun does make Solar Beam a 1-turn move instead of needing a turn to charge, when it's raining, Solar Beam actually gets weaker. So that's one of the many reasons why we want to have rain up the entire time. You don't really need Sap Sipper as a Water-type Goodra when the rain is up because Goodra's special defense is still going to tank it really well. And I think it actually ends up being like a 5-hit KO. Hydration is really good here, though, too, because if you don't have somebody running Safeguard and you get burned, then Hydration will clear that burn status. If you don't have enough Tera Shards to change to Water-type Tera, Hydration is preferred. If you're not playing with somebody that's running Safeguard, Hydration is preferred. If you are playing with somebody who has Safeguard and you are running Water-type Tera Goodra, then I would opt for Sap Sipper. But really, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a difference. I just wanted to explain kind of what was happening with Solar Beam and Sap Sipper and Hydration and Safeguard. There's a lot going on here. Our final Pokemon is actually going to be a Fire Pokemon, but with a Water-type move. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does Ninetales get a Water-type move? It's not Terra Blast, although it could be Terra Blast. I'm going to actually explain how this works. Ninetales has 2 abilities. Let's get this straight right away. Flash Fire and Drought. We don't want Drought at all. We don't want to set up Sun or Typhlosion in any means. We want Flash Fire. Flash Fire means we won't get hit by Fire-type moves. That's great. Not that it would do that much damage because we're already Fire-type, but yet we don't want Drought. Flash Fire is the ability we're doing. We're actually going to make Ninetales a Water-type Tera Pokemon. Although a Ninetales isn't full support and it's not full attack like Kyogre, it's more of an in-between. I'll explain. I wanted to make sure we had one Pokemon with Snarl to control Typhlosion's special attack. We're already controlling their physical attack, which is actually the scarier thing just because of the coverage, with Chilling Water. And we have a Milotic that has Light Screen that will definitely help out. But we still want ways to control its special attack. So that's where Ninetales comes in with Snarl. Ninetales is weak to Earthquake. It would get 3-shot by Earthquake, but Charm would turn that into a 5-shot just by using 1 Charm. We also have another Safeguard option here. If you are playing online with randoms, you're probably going to see a lot of Iron Hands and Annihilapes, because you always see a lot of Iron Hands and Annihilapes, but you're probably going to see a lot of Garganacles, Water Tauros, and something else that is physical that is pretty decent that I can't think of at the top of my head. Hisuian Samurott is a well, it can be mixed, but probably you're going to see physical versions of that. You don't want those to get burned. Because that would have their damage once they get burned. So Safeguard would be beneficial there. And then also Ninetales gets access to Nasty Plot and Fake Tears. But the cool thing here is Weather Ball. Weather Ball will change in weather, hence its name. In sun, Weather Ball will be a Fire-type move. And in rain, Weather Ball will be a Water-type move. So Weather Ball will be actually stronger than Surf in the rain. Surf is base 90. Weather Ball is base 100. So without even terastallizing, as long as you're in rain, and we have a lot of Pokemon that can set rain, Weather Ball will be a base 100 Water-type move coming from Ninetales. It will get even stronger when you terastallize to the Water-type Tera, which will actually be pretty easy. We're just going to assume that it has Earthquake. You're going to start off with 1 Charm. Then you're probably going to switch over to do 3 Snarls. And at that point, you'll be able to terastallize and Weather Ball. If you want to play a little bit more of support, you can put Fake Tears there. If you don't need the Safeguard because you're already playing with a Milotic, you can put Fake Tears or Nasty Plot there. So we are doing 252 HP, 160 defense, 40 special attack, and 56 special defense. Those are my 4 raid builds. They work all really well together. They all synergize. That was my main goal, is to make them all work really well together. My number 5th Pokemon that did not make the list is Hydreigon. The main reason is I'm still a little scared of Play Rough, and Hydreigon does not do very well against Play Rough. Even though Hydreigon gets access to Reflect, it still doesn't hold up super well against Play Rough. It does get access to Snarl, though. It does get access to Surf. It does get access to Focus Energy. It's pretty much Hydreigon is really, really good here if it doesn't have Play Rough. If it has Play Rough, it's still like doable, but that's why Hydreigon didn't make the list. Also, support Azumarill. I know a lot of people like running Huge Power. I already calced it. I don't think it's like super, super good, especially if Sun is up, it's not super good. And if you get burned, it's not super good. But if you run a support Azumarill with like Misty Terrain, that will also shut off the ability of getting burned. You could do Misty Terrain, Rain Dance, like Helping Hand. I also think Azumarill gets access to Light Screen as well. Somebody asked me about Manaphy. Like, yeah, Manaphy can work. I just don't think it's as good as what we have here. Manaphy's also like really finicky with like Heart Swap and stuff. So there's a bunch of Pokemon that can work. I think Water Tauros is really good if it doesn't get burned. Um, I think Arcanine is like okay if it doesn't have Earthquake, but if it does have Earthquake or Focus Blast, I'm Hisuian Arcanine. Regular Arcanine I think is a bit better in the situation. Anyways, there's a bunch of Pokemon that can work. These are the 4 I think were best based off my testing and based off my calculations. We ran 3 hours of calculations on all these Pokemon. That's why the EVs are the way they are. If you need help with this raid, feel free to swing by my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/PKMNcast. I'll be streaming Thursday night and Friday afternoon, and I'll be helping as many people get through this raid as possible. So if you do need help, feel free to come by. We'll just, get as many people through as possible.